Good morning. Welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Tuesday, November the 19th, and we're here to look at the new releases that have been published this week. And on Tuesdays, we look at mysteries and thrillers, the darker side of crime fiction. Mondays, we look at cozy mysteries. On Tuesdays, darker side. Wednesdays is romance. Thursdays is fantasy and science fiction. Friday is Freeform Friday. We look at whatever I want to look at. Frequently, it is more cozy mysteries because there's always a lot of them. Quick announcements. I do have sprints tonight at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. They go for 2.5 hours. I do those sprints 3 times a week, every Tuesday and Thursday evening and Saturday afternoons at 3 p.m. Eastern. The ones on Saturday go for 5 hours, so a total of 10 hours of sprinting time each and every week for you to make time to read or be productive, creative, whatever it is that makes you a happy person. Let's take a look at crime fiction. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're watching it live, appreciate it. I'm a morning person, so this is when I do it, but I also repost it so you can watch it later if you want to. First up, Ghosts of Waikiki by Jennifer K. Morita. It's a debut. After the newspaper she works for folds and the freelance assignments no longer pay the bills, Maya Wong reluctantly returns to her native Hawaii to ghostwrite controversial land developer Parker Hamilton's biography. But when the Hamilton patriarch is found dead under suspicious circumstances, Maya is unwittingly drawn into the investigation. Maya's family and friends aren't happy about her work for Hamilton, and now with her ex, Detective Koa Yamada, on the case, she's forced to contend with the very person she was determined to avoid. All too soon, Maya is dodging assailants and digging for clues while juggling girls' nights out with her old BFFs and weekly family dinners. Convinced that police are after the wrong man, Maya is determined to stop the killer before it's too late. Yes, I was going to ask. Good morning, Kim. Not sure if I'll be at Sprint tonight. At least try to come and give y'all an update. Appreciate it. Probably need to rest your eyes, so it'll be okay. But if you just want to listen to the music, that's okay too. You don't have to chat if you don't want to. It's going to go so well. Have you noticed on the crime fiction side, there's very little Christmas? Dead Below Deck by Jan Gengsi. It was supposed to be the best ever girls' trip. 5 days, 4 friends, 1 luxury yacht, no parents. But on the final night, as the yacht cruised the deep and dark waters between Florida and Grand Cayman, 18-year-old heiress Giselle vanished. She's nowhere to be found the next morning, even after a frantic search until security footage surfaces showing Maggie pushing her overboard. But Maggie has no memory of what happened. All she knows is that she woke up with a throbbing headache, thousands of dollars in cash in her safe, a passport that isn't hers, and Giselle's diary. And while Maggie had her own reasons to want Giselle dead, so did everyone else on board. Jealous Viv, calculating Emmy, even some members of the staff. What really went down on the top deck that night? Maggie will have to work her way backward to uncover the secrets that everyone, even Giselle, kept below deck, or she's dead in the water. If You Can Hear This by Faith Gardner. Posey Spade loves asking questions. It's what's going to make her a fantastic journalist someday. And ever since her best friend and crush chose someone else, Posey's only focusing on her future career. Unfortunately, she's just moved to the small town of Wild Pines, which doesn't provide a lot of groundbreaking journalism opportunities, only a scrappy AV club full of self-proclaimed slackers who Posey must somehow inspire to greatness. Why should she? She never thought that inspiration would come from the disappearance of the club's beloved sponsor and teacher, Mrs. Moses. But as the days tick by with no answers, Posey and the AV club take it upon themselves to dig into the mystery. This one and the last one are probably young adult mysteries. They just read that way, vibe that way. Murder in the Ranks by Christy Jones. Algiers, North Africa, 1943. After her abusive German husband left her for dead and took their daughter with him behind enemy lines, Dottie Lincoln learned that it's better to be a trained soldier rather than a victim. As a newly minted squad leader in the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps, she spends her days moving men and materials to the front and her nights attending mandatory dances to boost the morale of the men. Despite the grueling nature of her job, she has found a sanctuary amongst the women in the Army. When Ruth, a member of her squad, is murdered, she's devastated and determined to get to the bottom of the murder. Dottie's company is the first group of American women assigned to a combat theater, and with Ruth's death, the entire operation is being questioned. Determined to do everything she can to help win the war, bring justice to her friend, and hopefully reunite with her daughter, Dottie must rise to the occasion before the killer strikes again. End of row 1. Shell Games by Bonnie Kistler. The book sounded very familiar, The Cruise Ship. There is kind of that element in the Veronica Mars TV series. I seem to recall. Julie's mother, Kate, is a force of nature, a glamorous woman of 70, a self-made real estate developer, a grande dame in Florida society, and a power broker in Florida politics. It wasn't easy for Julie to grow up in the shadow of such a dynamo, but she loves her mother, and she and her husband, Eric, are thrilled when Kate marries her long-lost high school sweetheart, a salt-of-the-earth man named Charlie. But their storybook romance ends abruptly. On their wedding night, Kate calls the police in hysterics to report that Charlie just confessed to a notorious unsolved crime from decades before. Charlie says she imagined it. Eric says that Kate has dementia, and the FBI says that Charlie couldn't possibly have committed that crime. Julie doesn't know what to believe. Is her brilliant mother losing her mind, or is sweet, lovable Charlie gaslighting Kate to gain control of her fortune? As Julie tries to navigate through this maze of paranoia and mind games, cracks start to develop in her own marriage as it seems that Eric is keeping secrets. But Thanksgiving isn't fun at that place. Just saying. With Thanksgiving coming up. The Collaborators by Michael Idov. Combining realistic thrills with sophisticated spycraft and witty dialogue, this book delivers a gut-punch answer to the biggest geopolitical question of our time. How exactly did post-Soviet Russia turn down the wrong path? Money and corrupt people? Crisscrossing the globe on the way to this shocking revelation are disaffected millennial CIA officer Ari Falk, thrown into a moral and professional crisis by the death of his best asset, and brash, troubled LA heiress Maya Chu, spiraling after the disappearance of her Russian-American billionaire father. The duo's adventures take us both classic and surprising locales, from Berlin to Latvia, Belarus, and an abandoned techno park outside Moscow. And Chris Pavone blurbs it. Pavone. When Mimi Went Missing by Suja Sukumar. Shy, nerdy Tanvi has always thought of her perfect cousin Mimi as her sister. Not only did Mimi's family raise Tanvi after the tragic death of her parents, fierce Mimi has always protected Tanvi at school, at least until Mimi fell under the spell of their flawless, rich classmate Beth. Tanvi's biggest bully. Fearing another terrible year, Tanvi decides to take a desperate preemptive strike and captures an incriminating photo of Mimi and Beth at a party. When Tanvi wakes up the next day with a bump on her head, scratches on her leg, and no memory of what caused her injuries, Mimi is gone. Tanvi begins to fill the gaps in her memory and question Mimi's friends and enemies, hoping to bring her cousin home. But when new evidence comes to light, the search for Mimi takes a dark turn as the cops announce they are now hunting a murderer. Could Tanvi be the killer? To save her family, Tanvi must revisit the worst night of her life and the darkest parts of her past to discover if she's capable of murder and the truth of what happened to Mimi. We have a very young adult tone today, other than that historical. Give us some grit. Bogey Spades, Battle-Born, book number 3 by Jack Stewart. Returning home a hero, Top Gun pilot Colt Bancroft is called on to resurrect a Vietnam-era light attack squadron. Once soaring high, he finds himself on the dark side of special operations in a conflict he never saw coming. At its front lines, NCIS Special Agent Emmy Punky King is confronted with the timeless question, is the enemy of her enemy her friend? As Colt and his band of Navy SEALs bring the black ponies of Val-4 to the fight, Punky navigates the murky waters of international espionage and an uneasy alliance with a former adversary to uncover a new threat. At its heart is a weapon that could tilt the scales of global power, and the American vice president is in the crosshairs. A little darker, but we've got people named Colt and Punky. Silent Are the Dead by D.M. Roll. While back on tribal land, Mud Sawpole uncovers your name is Mud, uncovers an illegal fracking operation underway that threatens the Kiowa's ancestral home. But there's an even greater threat. A local businessman involved in artifact thefts is murdered, and a respectful tribe elder faces accusation of the crime. After being roped in by her cousin, Denny, they begin to investigate the death while also pursuing evidence to permanently stop frackers from destroying Kiowa land, water, and livelihoods. When answers evade her, Mud heeds her grandfather's and great-aunt's words of wisdom and embraces Kiowa tribal customs to find the answers that she seeks. But her ceremonial sweat leads to a vision with answers wrapped in more questions. Mud and Denny race against the clock to uncover the real killer and must face the knowledge that there may be a traitor and a murderer in their midst. It's already too late for one victim, and Mud may be next. Craig Johnson has a new one. Tooth and Claw. This is a Longmire story, they say, related to the Longmire series. A little long for a novella, though. It's 208 pages. They're calling it a short novel. In the Alaska tundra, where a young Walt Longmire and Henry Standing Bear face off, so it's a prequel kind of thing, with powerful enemies. Tooth and Claw follows Walt and Henry up to Alaska as they look for work after they both returned from serving in Vietnam. While working for an oil company in the bitter cold of winter, they soon encounter a ferocious polar bear who seems hell-bent on their destruction. But it's not too long until they realize the danger does not lurk outside in the frozen Alaska tundra, but with their co-workers who are after priceless treasure and will stop at nothing to get it. Interesting. And that is all we have in the darker side. We shall jump back into the cozy mysteries, since we have time. I think we left off with Mystic Shadows. I know we did the circus one. A Mage Made in Heaven, Casino Witch Mystery number 10 by Nikki Haverstock. There are 3 rules at the Golden Pyramid Casino Poker Tournament. Don't blow your winnings in one night. Hide your tells. No magic. Ella's life is finally exactly how she wants it. Well, almost. She's running a security firm with Vin, and business is booming. But Vin is sure something is wrong after they are hired to provide extra security at the Golden Pyramid's annual poker tournament, and that instinct proves explosively correct. Now they have to solve the case and protect the tournament participants. Plus, Ella's mentor shows up, triggering a big life decision, all while trying to avoid getting squished by a building. I hate it when that happens. Some of these covers all are so similar, you don't know if you've done them before, but they are not even necessarily different books within a series, but also different series, but all the covers look alike. This is one of those. Murder in an English Castle by Maren Allingham, 10th in the Flora Steele Mysteries. Sussex, 1959. The sun is shining on the breathtaking castle as the Abbeymead Historical Society prepare the reenactment of the Battle of Lewes. But the fun ends abruptly when council worker Alex Vickery falls to his death from the castle ramparts. A shadowy figure runs from the scene, but Alex was a beloved member of the community. Who could possibly want him dead? As Flora and Jack investigate further, they dig up troubles Alex kept buried from those closest to him. Perhaps he was pushed by his money-hungry landlord, Larry Morton, who was trying to sell Alex's home, or maybe his oldest and shiftiest friend, Bruce Sullivan, who gambled away the money Alex loaned him. Or could it be his wide-eyed new girlfriend, Diane Croft, who dodges questions about Alex's death and hides presents from another suitor? But when Flora discovers an engagement ring among Alex's possessions, she is stunned to learn that his relationship with Diane was more serious than everyone thought. With whispers of another man fighting for Diane's heart, were the battle lines drawn for love? Cindy Bell has a new one. Trailed in Little Leaf Creek, 25th in the Little Leaf Creek Cozy Mysteries. That sounds right up Cajun's alley. When dirt bike trails in the woods are approved, the riders are celebrating, but many of the locals are up in arms. The town is at loggerheads and tension is brewing. But things get a whole lot more serious when the person who organized the trails is murdered. Cassie's naturally curious nature kicks in and she joins forces with her no-nonsense ex-cop neighbor to find the killer. With help from Tessa's energetic dog and mischievous goats, they follow a treacherous trail of clues and suspects in order to uncover the truth. As they dig deeper, the more dangerous their search for the murderer becomes. Will they catch the killer before they become the next victims? Recipe included: pumpkin roll with cream cheese frosting. Felines and Felonies, 3rd in the Chatty Cat Cozy Mysteries by L. Wren Burke. Things are going perfectly at Brighton's new gig, Catching Mice, for a cozy little bookshop. A few naps, some belly rubs. I'm assuming this is a cat. And lots of pouncing on critters, until one fine morning when he finds a man stone cold and stiff as a scratching post right in the middle mystery aisle. Suspicion lands on the harmless bookstore owner and brightens her only alibi. His whiskers twitch to clear her name, but his family says it's too risky, until one of his humans has a vision of a mysterious blonde woman. Brighton rushes to poke his whiskers into the case, but he better sharpen his claws. His catnapper is back and might just stop him from getting to the murderer before they strike again. His catnapper or his owner, who says, "Come home, stop solving mysteries and talking to other people." End of that row. Death at the Swan Tavern by Kitty Kildare, 6th in the Veronica Vale Investigates series. Step into 1920s London, where the festive season is in full spring. Veronica Vale is looking forward to Christmas at the Swan Tavern with her dear friend Ruby, her dog Benji, and a group of friends, old and new. But as snow blankets the city, a tragedy shatters the merriment. John Robinson, a charismatic newcomer, meets a chilling end. His death is considered by most to be a tragic accident, but Veronica senses something amiss, a puzzle waiting to be unraveled like a Christmas ribbon. And what was an injured swan doing trapped underneath his body? Yeah, that is a question I ask daily. What do you mean, page not found? Well, whoa, and this one did come up. Victoria Kazarian has a new one in the Laughing Loaf Bakery Mysteries and Oven Beyond, 6th in that series. With Laughing Loaf Bakery closing for renovation, Gracie decides to launch an outdoor pop-up bakery. As the Laughing Loaf bakers create new treats for the venture, Gracie cheers on her boyfriend Nate, first baseman for the River Grove River Rats softball team. With Nate and powerhouse batter Councilman Greg, team coach Mayor Corinne Webster is confident River Grove will clinch the league championship for the first time ever, until Councilman Greg is found behind the back fence murdered. With help from her not-so-well-behaved dog and her best friend, Elena, Gracie searches for the killer as more and more clues point to an unlikely suspect. The team mascot, Runty the rat, includes Laughing Loaf Bakery recipes. Whoa. Let's make sure we're in the right. Yes, we are in the right. Boots, Blitzen, and Burglary by Leanne Leeds. 9th in the Silver Circle Cat Rescue Mysteries. Christmas in Table Rock, Texas is usually a time of joy and goodwill, but this year a string of burglaries has the town on edge. When a mischievously secretive snowshoe cat named Blitzen seeks refuge at Silver Circle Cat Rescue, Ellie and Evie Rockwell suspect the cat is no victim, and Blitzen may hold the key to solving the crimes. With Blitzen's cryptic hints, the mother-daughter duo must navigate a blizzard of suspects and motives to catch the burglar before they strike again. But as they unravel the tangled tinsel of clues, they realize this is no ordinary thief, and the next target could be them. And that's all we have time for. Well, at least we were able to do a couple more in the cozy mysteries. All right. Again, I do have sprints tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. They go for 2.5 hours. Bring your own book, bring your own beverage. Close your eyes after a day, whatever it is that makes you happy. Kim, you're going to do so good. It's going to be marvelous. Just give yourself time to, recuperate afterward. But sending you good vibes and prayers. Tomorrow we'll be looking at romance new releases. And hope you guys have a very good Tuesday. You're welcome, baby. As the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom. Have a good day. God bless.